Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tabor Sawatsky, and I'd like to welcome all of you to today's GOPHER Solutions webinar. For those of you who are new to our webinar series, this is a monthly webinar focusing on a variety of physical education topics. Past webinar topics have included PE teachers presenting on specific activities like assessment, fitness, classroom management, and PE advocacy. Past presenters have included Dr. Robert Pangrazi, Dr. John Medina, and Jean Blades. Our presenters have done a great job of bringing useful topics and information to the field of physical education. And our webinars will occur almost always the third week of every month. All attendees of today's webinar will receive a certificate of participation for 1 hour of educational credit. And also today, all attendees will be entered to win a 15-pack of FitStep Pro uploadable pedometers valued at $429. We will do that drawing at the end of our presentation today. Today's webinar is titled Exciting New PE Fundraising with the American Diabetes Association. Our presenters today are Liz Jern and Crystal Jackson. Before I introduce our presenters, I wanted to mention that we will have the chance to answer questions, so please ask any questions as they come up during the presentation. Your questions are only visible to me, the moderator, so feel free to ask any questions you might have during the presentation. To ask questions on the right-hand side of your screen, you can type in any questions you might have. We'll accumulate those throughout the presentation, and we'll get to as many of those as we can with our presenters at the end of the presentation. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing our presenters, Liz Jern and Crystal Jackson, both with the American Diabetes Association. Crystal Jackson is the Director of Safe at School, and Liz Jern is with Campaign Development for Special Events with Stop Diabetes at School. And the American Diabetes Association's mission is to prevent and cure diabetes and improve the lives of all people affected by diabetes. So today, I'm going to turn it over to our presenters, Liz and Crystal. It's all yours.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having us today. My name is Liz Jern, and I am with the American Diabetes Association Special Events Department. And it's my job to help you, individuals, families, schools, whoever, to find which fundraising campaign is right for them or for the community that they live in. So I also tend to oversee a handful of our other national fundraising and awareness campaigns, such as the school-based programming that we're going to talk about today. So my background is in nonprofit management with an emphasis in special event planning. However, I grew up in a household of educators. Both of my parents were teachers, and with all things, I, of course, didn't realize how lucky I was at the time. Every day for their entire careers, they saved the world, one kid or one teenager at a time. And I think I got my drive to dedicate my work to nonprofit charities because just like them, I'm hoping that at some point I can say that I'm saving my tiny part of the world every time I go to work as well. So that's why I'm so lucky to be here with you today, do webinars like this, and to talk to great people like you. So as you know, and pretty much more than anyone else, you know how much the start of a new school year comes with a lot of hope, a lot of renewed energy, and the excitement for all of the possibilities that the next school year will bring. And now that I'm a parent of middle-aged school children, I am particularly happy for this time of year. I am proud of the teachers that my kids have had and that they will have, and they truly are the kids that they are today because of the direct positive influence of their teachers. So if you're excited to crack open that new bottle of hand sanitizer, or like the smell of brand new notebooks, or those new gym shoes on the gym floor, then I am really happy to talk to you today about some of the great fundraising opportunities with the American Diabetes Association. So I know you know this, but teachers is truly what makes the world go round. And my job as a parent, and not just working for the American Diabetes Association, but as a parent and as a member of society, we are utterly and completely dependent on what experiences our children are getting in the classroom because it makes them who they are today. So I know that you all have a million and one things to do every day, And if you haven't been thanked for them yet today, let me be the first to thank you today. Thank you for all the things that you do. So I am very lucky in my work to work with educators all across the country with the American Diabetes Association's school-based fundraising campaigns. And the teachers that I work with on these campaigns are some of the best people in the world. So it is my job to help you accomplish that one extra thing that you want to do this year that's starting with so much hope and so much possibilities. And I am hoping that by the end of this webinar, you will consider one of the association's fundraising and awareness programs for your school. With our school-based campaigns, you can earn money for your PE program when you fundraise for the American Diabetes Association. Not only that, but you're going to be able to model the importance of taking care of each other in our community. And the whole time you're going to do it for such a great cause, and which is to support our mission to prevent and cure diabetes. So we have 3 school-based fundraising campaigns I'm going to invite you today to participate in. Community Walk at School, School Walk for Diabetes, and our signature walk event, Step Out Walk to Stop Diabetes. So today it's going to be my job to help you figure out which campaign is going to be right for you. And we will talk more in-depthly about each of the 3 campaigns. But first, an overall view. What about all these three school-based campaigns? Well, our goal is to stop diabetes at school. All 3 campaigns are designed to be a turnkey fundraising, walk, and awareness event for you. They are simple to execute, and the ultimate goal is to get money for your PE program. With all 3 campaigns, the American Diabetes Association will provide you with all of the tools you need to get started right away, and then wrap up the campaign within 2 to 4 weeks, depending on your school schedule. We have staff that will guide you along the way, online tools that you can access at any time, and the best of all, you're going to earn money for your PE program. It's simple to achieve, and we're going to be here to help you achieve it. So, with so many choices, what's going to be the best thing for you? We know from past experience that if we get to the info to the kids first, it tends to trickle up to the parents and to their guardians and other family members. With 30 million Americans who are living with diabetes, it is common that everyone will know someone living with diabetes. We want to empower the kids with the information now and repeat it often so they can be the best advocates for themselves. So our school-based campaigns are not here just to add one more thing to your already busy schedule, but to integrate into classroom activities that are already underway. When you participate, you'll not only support our cause and the great cause that the mission that it is, but you'll also be boosting your school spirit and promoting community involvement. Modeling those behaviors and living them out at school will help ingrain the message that giving back to our communities is part of what makes us strong and good and respectful society. So let's talk a little bit about what each campaign can bring to your school. And don't worry, you don't have to remember it all. I'm going to provide you with all of the websites so you can look at each campaign in depth after this. And I'm also going to give you my phone number and my email address so we can work together to help find what's right for you. And then just as a reminder, Tabor's going to be taking questions throughout the presentation, and you can type it into your box on your screen, and we'll answer everything at the end. So let's talk about the first campaign for your school. It's called Community Walk at School. Community Walk at School is a walk, awareness, and fundraising event for your school at your school. You're going to be able to decide the date and time that works best in the school calendar, keeping in mind that campaigns run about 2 to 4 weeks, of course dependent on your schedule, and it starts with fundraising and ends with a walk. Your school is going to get all of the planning materials you need. You're going to get a secure event website, and you're going to get student pages, which makes registering for the event and signing waiver forms and kids asking for donations really super easy. You're also going to get a kit, a physical kit that's going to come in the mail, and that's going to have banners and posters and balloons and a few more things. But what's the best thing? You're going to be able to raise money for your PE program. So schools can earn 10% back of their total fundraising in the form of a gift certificate from GOPHER. You're going to be able to support your PE program while fundraising for ADA. Now, there is a $2,000 minimum fundraising required, but that's because that's what we do. That's how we support our mission, but we're going to help you get there. So I want to show you this. This slide is a real example of a real school in Texas that participated in a community walk at school. It's a little small, and I apologize for that, but this is what your web page, your school web page will look like. You will receive something that's very similar to this, and that you're going to be able to receive also all the instructions on how to use your website effectively and efficiently. And you're going to receive a step-by-step planning guide, which is literally every step you need to execute the campaign. Not only how to use your website, but how to do it at the school level as well. You're going to receive a lot of other material as well, such as pledge sheets for students, morning announcement suggestions, worksheets for the kids, parent letter samples, and more. And I also mentioned that kit that's going to arrive in the mail. So that's, again, it's going to have some posters and some balloons and some banners. It's also going to have some brochures about diabetes and about the American Diabetes Association. You can use this info and these decorations for your hallways, for your door, for your gym, for your office, your bulletin board, whatever makes sense for your school. You're also going to get one-on-one support from me. I will be able to provide you and your school the tips and tricks to be successful, share with you what other schools have done successfully, and just support you overall in your entire event planning. The second option is School Walk for Diabetes. Again, School Walk for Diabetes is a walk, fundraising, and awareness event. And again, you get to decide the date and time, keeping again in mind that campaigns run about 2 to 4 weeks. This type of event can also happen during PE class or as an all-school assembly. You're going to receive all of the planning materials, a school website, and student websites. But there are two major differences to this option in comparison to community walk at school. With this option, we do offer student thank you gifts starting with a $10 donation. And we only offer this campaign in specific areas. We have a lot of Texas covered. It's also offered in Charlotte, North Carolina, North Dakota, Minnesota and North Dakota, Phoenix, Arizona, and in Chicago. Again, you don't have to remember all that. I'm going to help you figure out what's going to be right for your school. But also with this campaign, number one benefit, you're going to be able to earn 10% back of your fundraising in the form of a gift certificate from GOPHER. Again, with that $2,000 minimum, but we're going to help you we're going to get you there and exceed it. So I talked a little bit about those thank you gifts. This is a sample of the thank you gifts that we're offering this year. Our theme this year is Become a Diabetes Superhero. So all of the thank you gifts are around our superhero theme. Now, as we know from our past experience with our other events, we know that schools are drawn to our school-based programming not because of the prizes, but because of the mission. And therefore, we are going to support you with your diabetes education with free lesson plans that align with the National Health and Physical Education Standards, no matter which school-based programming you choose. And our third option is Step Out, Walk to Stop Diabetes. This is the association's signature walk event. It is currently located in 95, mostly metro cities, and school teams are invited to get the entire school involved. The major difference here again is that every school will participate, or every participant participates on the same day. If it's a school, a family team, a company team, it's on the same day in the same city. But what doesn't change if your school decides to participate and step out is that you can still earn money for your PE program. You still can earn the 10% back in the form of a gift certificate once you reach that $2,000 minimum fundraising, school-wide fundraising level. So why is Step Out a great option for you? If you're not prepared to do those other two events that do involve some time on your part for planning, dates and times and so forth, you can participate on the dates and times that are already scheduled by our staff for the Step Out in your area. Often, Step Out events occur on the weekends. And as a school team, you can rally your school together, have a meeting place at the walk event, walk together, and socialize together at the end. Many of our families who send their children to our diabetes camps for kids across the U.S. participate in the Step Out event. I mention this because those families and those camp kids, they use this time as an opportunity to get together, reconnect, and show a united front for the mission. And your school could do exactly the same thing. So, if you're looking to earn a little money for your school and for your PE program, and you want to model some good citizenship and support a great cause all at the same time, one of our association school-based campaigns is going to be right for you. So before we go further into our school-based programming, I'm going to have Crystal Jackson, our director of our Safe at School program, is going to talk a little bit about why this is such an important cause to get behind, share a little information about how we can work together to keep your kids safe at school, and then she's also going to offer some tips for teachers as you start off your new school year. Crystal?
Thanks so much, Liz, and thanks everyone for attending this webinar today. I am the director of the Association Safe at School program, but I am much more than that. I'm also the parent of a child with type 1 diabetes who has benefited tremendously through ADA's programs such as CAMP and Safe at School throughout the years. Because of ADA, to a great extent, my daughter is very happy, healthy, living with type 1 diabetes, and is thriving. My job is to develop advocacy resources to assist parents and schools to work together as a team to make sure children with diabetes are able to have access to diabetes management throughout the school day and at all school-sponsored activities. The funds your school raises will be very helpful in supporting programs at the association, such as the one I'm about to talk about, and that's our Safe at School program. I wanted to give you a little bit of background about diabetes. Diabetes, as you know, is a chronic disease in which the body does not make or properly use insulin. And insulin is a hormone that's needed to convert sugar, starches, and other food into energy by moving glucose from the blood into the cells. So people with diabetes have increased blood sugar or blood glucose levels for one or more of the following three reasons. Either they have little or they have no insulin being produced, their insulin production is insufficient, or their body is just resistant to the effects of insulin. And as a result of that, high levels of glucose build up into the bloodstream and spill into the urine and out into the body and out of the body. The body loses its main source of fuel in cells. Cells are deprived of glucose, which is a needed source of energy. High blood glucose levels may result in short and long-term complications over time, and that's what we try to prevent. Maintaining good blood glucose control is a juggling act, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And as a parent of a child with diabetes, I have lived this 24/7. The key to optimal diabetes control is a careful balance of juggling of food, physical activity, and insulin and or other oral medications. As a general rule, insulin and oral medication and physical activity make blood glucose levels go down. Food makes blood glucose levels go up. Several other factors such as stress, illness, or injury can also affect blood glucose levels. They usually make the blood sugars go up. So diabetes today. Our search study found that 1.93 per 1,000 youth aged below the age of 20 diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, and that's an increase of 21% from 2001 to 2009 in all ethnicities, but with the non-Hispanic whites disproportionately affected. The search study reported 0.46 per 1,000 youth with type 2 diabetes, and that's an increase of 30.5% from 2001 to 2009 in all ethnicities. There's been a dramatic increase in type 2 diabetes due to the prevalence of childhood overweight, and improvements in technology and knowledge have enabled better care but have increased management demands. That just kind of gives you a context for diabetes today. So, in order to be safe at school, we must make sure that our students have access to trained personnel who can provide both routine care like blood glucose monitoring and insulin administration and emergency care, that is the recognition and treatment of low and high blood glucose levels. Unfortunately, the school nurse cannot be in all places at all times, so other school staff members need to be prepared to help the student. And unfortunately, not every school has a full-time school nurse. We wish that was the case, but unfortunately that's not, so others need to know how to take care of the student. Students should be allowed to self-manage their diabetes anywhere, anytime, and this includes blood glucose checks and insulin administration. This also includes the student having the ability to carry supplies, equipment, medication, and food, and not being required to go to the clinic to access these items every time the child needs to check blood sugar or to give insulin. The child should be able to fully participate in all school-sponsored activities with trained personnel on site to meet the student's diabetes needs as outlined by the student's written care plans. High blood glucose and low blood glucose can certainly impact academic performance. So the student should be allowed to take exams at alternate times if his or her blood glucose levels are out of target range. Okay. Students with diabetes are protected by federal laws, and also some state laws have additional protections for the student with diabetes. And this is because diabetes is a disability that limits endocrine function. And endocrine function is a major life activity under federal law, so diabetes is a disability. It's important to remember that. Also, many states have laws and guidelines that provide additional protections for students with diabetes. And for more information about your state, you can go to diabetes.org/kidswin. So what is a Section 504 plan? Well, it is a written document where the parent and the schools agree on the services and accommodations to meet the student's needs under Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. Each child with diabetes is different, and each child will have individual needs. Therefore, a Section 504 plan must be individually developed. The association has a template 504 plan that can be found on our website, at diabetes.org/504plan. So Section 504 plans or individual education programs, or IEPs, have many diabetes-related components. These require schools to provide reasonable accommodation to allow the students with disabilities to receive an education that is comparable to students without disabilities. And this is just a list of some of the suggested components for a Section 504 plan or IEP. Take a look at the association's template on our website. And what ultimately is included depends on the individual child. For example, younger children, such as kindergartners or early elementary age student, will always need to have someone around who has been trained to provide all aspects of diabetes care, including insulin and glucagon administration. Another common component is to include language that prohibits the school from penalizing the student if he or she goes over allowed absences or tardies, such as extra time away from school for doctor's appointments. We know that happens a lot. These kids have a lot of doctor's appointments to stay healthy. This is just a list of some other components of a 504 IEP. It's very important to adhere to the child's care schedule, which includes routine blood glucose testing, insulin administration. We want to make sure meals and snacks are eaten on time. Also, as I said before, kids should have reasonable time to make up assignments, missed instruction, and to take a test if it's missed due to diabetes. And we don't want to penalize students with diabetes for absences due to diabetes, whether it be illness or doctor's appointments. So here are a few key tips for teachers who have students with diabetes. Pay close attention to your students' signs of low blood sugar and have low supplies immediately available to treat or get help. And those low supplies might include fruit juice, glucose tabs, whatever the parent and the child's healthcare provider decide works best to treat the child's low. Don't draw unnecessary attention to the student. Lots of students, especially the older students and the students who've had diabetes for a while, they can just they can sit at their desk, check their blood sugar, bolus their insulin. Don't want to draw unnecessary attention to their doing that. Be supportive of their self-management. Kids are always transitioning to self-management, and the parent and the school should work together to support that transition. Allow unrestricted bathroom breaks and water access. Work with the student to make up assignments and tests missed due to diabetes management, illness, and doctor's appointments. Support the student's full participation in all school-sponsored activities. And it's not enough to say it's okay for the child to go on a field trip or to allow the child to participate in sports after school. In order for the child to safely participate, there needs to be somebody on site who has been trained to assist the child with his or her diabetes management. It's important to know there are no forbidden foods for students with diabetes. Everyone should eat healthy, but there's nothing wrong with a student with diabetes eating a chocolate chip cookie or enjoying the snack, party snacks, as long as those foods, those carbohydrates are worked into the diabetes meal plan. And learn as much about diabetes as you possibly can. Also, it's very important for teachers and school staff to be aware of the symptoms of type 1 diabetes. You could very well help to save a life by notifying a parent if you notice any of these symptoms. If you do notice these symptoms, notify the parent, and the parent should be strongly urged to contact their child's physician immediately if they notice any of these symptoms. Many times these symptoms are mistakenly identified as flu symptoms when indeed they are diabetes. So it's very important to always be alert to that. So if you have any questions about diabetes, you need help, you have a diabetes management question in your classroom, you can give the association a call at 1-800-DIABETES. You can email askada@diabetes.org, go to diabetes.org, get help. Also, we have many, many materials available in Spanish. And I'm going to turn this back over to Liz.
Thanks, Crystal. So you've heard a lot about our Safe at School program, and you heard a lot about how to get involved with our school-based fundraising campaigns. Remembering, fundraise for ADA, you earn money for your PE program. But why really participate in one of our school-based programs? We're asking you to consider participating today, because today alone, 4,660 people will be diagnosed with diabetes, because 30 million Americans are already living with diabetes, and diabetes will claim 200 lives just today. All three school-based opportunities will help you increase your understanding of diabetes as a disease and as a community epidemic. And the funds raised through these programs will help us further our mission to prevent and cure diabetes and support all people living with diabetes. We can't combat diabetes alone, and what we do together far outweighs what any of us will do by ourselves. So, let me now help you decide what's best for your school. You can look again at all of our three school-based campaigns more in depth with these websites. And please do not hesitate to contact me through the phone or through email at any time. I'm here to support you and do what's right for your school. And together, we'll determine what's right for you, your community, to fulfill your goals and your timeline. Thank you, everyone, for listening and absorbing the information from our Safe at School program and about our school-based campaigns.
Thanks, Liz and Crystal. Hopefully for our audience, we've given you a new and exciting way to raise some money for your PE department, and also certainly a worthwhile cause to get behind that oftentimes is in line with what we're trying to do in physical education. Just a reminder, any questions that might have come up throughout the presentation, feel free to ask those. We'll get into as many of those as we can, and then we will also do our giveaway toward the end. First question for Liz and Crystal. On average, a school doing a program, how much should they expect to raise, based on, the number of kids in the school? So if it's if there are 300 kids in a school, does that fall typically, is there an average that you've seen where a teacher or a PE department might be able to kind of forecast or set a goal at, or how do you determine the goals with the schools?
That's a great question. We actually determine the goals for the schools based on our national average.
Okay.
On the national average, our schools raise just about $2,000 in a campaign, which is why we also set that fundraising minimum at that level as well.
Okay.
But we'll work individually with each school to determine what's best for them.
Is there an average dollar amount that the schools kind of can talk to the kids about, or even use internally to say, okay, we've got 300 kids in our school, we should average $10 a student, or is there anything like that?
Well, what we really suggest is to encourage 100% participation.
Okay.
So if that means that every student brings in $1, or every student brings in $50, it doesn't matter, as long as everyone can receive the information we provide and has the opportunity to participate.
Okay. The next question is about the school website. And can you speak a little bit to the programs where you offer that, and how does that work? How do you set that up with the school? Who needs to be involved in that, and how is that a tool from a fundraising standpoint?
Sure, that's another great question. So all of our three school-based campaigns do offer a school event website as well as student or participant or walker, whatever word you want to use, personal fundraising web pages as well. It's very easy to get those web pages set up. It actually happens automatically during the registration process. So for all 3 campaigns, it takes about 5 to 10 minutes, depending if you're interrupted or not while you're registering online. And by the end of the registration process, after those 10 minutes, your school website is going to be up and running.
Okay. And then how do the schools use that as a tool from a fundraising standpoint? Is that something that schools post, on a TV within the lobby? Is it something that the kids go to, that the teachers only go to? How is that used?
It's a multi-pronged approach. So there's going to be one administrator for the school website, and that's usually a teacher who has the first or initial access. And then they're going to get the word out to the students through whatever means is possible for that school. Sometimes that could be an email blast or in a newsletter, on a bulletin board. And then students and parents need to choose to go to that website and register securely online. We do protect the rights of children online. So information for children who are 17 years and younger is not available and is not searchable online. So students and parents must choose to go to that website. And then students will be able to customize their personal their personal fundraising pages, and they are able then to send out that link to their family and friends who can donate to them directly and support them in the cause.
Okay. All right. The next question was for if there was it the school walk, does that one include the prizes?
Yes, exactly. School walk includes this individual student gifts.
And the community walk at school does not. Is it possible if a teacher or a school wanted to purchase the prizes from ADA for their participants? Is that anything that schools have done?
Absolutely. We can work almost anything out together.
Okay. Well, that is it for our questions right now. We are going to go ahead and do our drawing for our pedometer pack, 15-pack of pedometers, valued at $429. And just a reminder to everybody in attendance, we will email out a link to the recorded version. We'll also email out a certificate of participation, and also we'll have announcement of our next month's webinar will be coming up too. But hopefully we've given you some good tools here. Liz, before we do that, what would be the first step for somebody who wanted to get involved in one of these programs? What's the first thing they should do from this point on?
They are invited to visit our website at diabetes.org, and they can search for community walk. They can search for any of our school-based programming, community walk at school, school walk, or step out from there.
And then from there, it'll take them through everything they need to do.
Absolutely.
Great. The winner of our pedometer pack is David Dvorin, and he is a PE teacher at Kitty Hawk Elementary School in North Carolina. Congratulations, David. And for the rest of you, we hope to see you at next month's webinar. Keep an eye out for that topic and the registration details. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Crystal. And everybody have a great afternoon.